Hey there, and welcome to Cooking with Kay. For today's recipe, it's actually not my own, but I'm actually going to make it my own. Sometimes you can taste something or someone makes you something and you're like, oh, I can zhuzh that up a bit. I'm going to zhuzh it up a bit. So I'm going to make crab cakes. A friend of mine, Hey Pat, made this awesome crab cakes a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to try it out for myself. So here are the things you're going to need. You're going to need some mayonnaise, some Worcestershire sauce, Old Bay seasoning, smoked paprika. I'm gonna do 3 different types of mustard here, but really the recipe calls for just Dijon mustard. And I'm going to use some garlic powder, 1 egg. I'm gonna use crab meat that is already lumped, a spicy pepper, and you're gonna need 20 crackers. You can use saltine, however, I'm going to use some Ritz crackers, which my friend made it with Ritz crackers. And where the kick comes in, I'm going to make it with shrimp and crab together. So stay tuned for the recipe. And hey, logo t-shirt, hey. um Thank you to my bestie Stacy for doing all of this work for my t-shirts and all of my branding. She's absolutely the best. But in any event, stay tuned and we'll get cooking. Oh, did I mention you're going to need cooking oil to fry those suckers up in? You're going to need a 1/4 cup of cooking oil. In any event, I'll be right back with the whole recipe. And we're back, people. So here's what I did. I took about 6 medium-sized shrimp and I cut them up, deveined, and cleaned them really well. Cut them up really small. And then I took the crab meat and I folded it in with the shrimp. I just added a 1/4 piece of the hot peppers. So I'm just gonna mix that in to the crab meat a bit. Now, the next thing that we need to do, we need to make our mayonnaise mixture. So for this recipe, it calls for a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. So we're going to use this, get a 1/2 cup. Here you go, and that's about a 1/2 cup. And we're gonna mix this separately. So we put a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise into a bowl, a medium-sized bowl, because you're going to later on mix in the crab meat. So in this medium-sized bowl, I added a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. So after the see, there's a mayonnaise, 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. So after I've added the mayonnaise, I need to add an egg. So I'm going to take a medium-sized egg and mix it in with the mayonnaise. So just mix it around. Be well with the mayonnaise. You don't have to beat it separately. You could, since this is all going to be one thing, you can mix it all together. See there, and there you have your little egg mixture. Now you just add in all your other seasonings. Your Worcestershire sauce, you need a tablespoon here. So there's a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now you need to add your mustard. So it calls for a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and as I said, I'm gonna add 3 different mustards to this. So I'm just gonna add a zhuzh of this Dijon with the meal. a little droplet of German, just a drizz, and a little bit of Coleman's dry mustard here. Literally a splish splash. There you go. So now we mix all of that up together again. There you go. Now I'm gonna add just maybe a tablespoon of garlic powder. I'm gonna add just a couple of sprinklings of smoked paprika. All of these things you can find in your local supermarket or Trader Joe's. My friends tease me that I do Trader Joe's. I don't care. And some Old Bay seasoning. So just add about a nice teaspoon. Mix that all together. Now, you add in your crab and shrimp concoction to your mayonnaise mix, and you mix that all together. You can add more pepper if you want. You can add more to this whole mix up if you want to. If you don't, you just want to make it plain, you can just make it plain. Just follow it without all of the added extras, because you can just literally add some Old Bay seasoning to some crab meat, an egg, some mayonnaise, a little bit of mustard, and call it a day. But I zhuzhed this up a bit. Now, the exciting part about this, the original recipe called for saltine crackers. This recipe, we're gonna use Ritz, and I think it makes a whole different flavor. It adds a completely different flavor. And I'm wearing gloves because all I'm gonna do is just crush up. Calls for 10 to 12, so I'm gonna use, that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Isn't that exciting? Feels good to crush things up with your hands. Anyway, mix that all together. Of course, you can, use a different method of crushing up your crackers, but I like that. Felt good. And then this literally stays in your refrigerator covered for an hour. And then we're going to fry it up. So let this sit for a bit. Let all of the flavors marinate and work itself together. This is going to be one of the dishes that you are going to serve to your friends and be like, oh my God, I learned how to cook this on Cooking with Kay. In any event, I will be right back, people. Enjoy your evening. Bye. Be back in an hour. Hey there, and welcome back to Cooking with Kay. So our mixture for our crab cakes is settled and marinated well for over an hour in the refrigerator. And now I'm going to fry it up. So it is, don't forget, it's crab and shrimp mixture together. Before I said 10 crackers, it's actually 20. My bad. Again, as I said, it's not my recipe. I'm borrowing it. Again, thanks, Pat. So you can do one of two things. You can either make them into a little patty in your hand, or B, since it's somewhat pliable, You can take it like this and drop it into your oil, which is already heated and a tad bit bubbling. And you need 1/4 canola oil, 1/4 cup canola oil. So I'm going to drop crab cake into your bubbling oil like that. Your crab and shrimp cake. So your typical crab cake, you would cook it for about 3 minutes on each side. Being that this has the shrimp in it and you also want the shrimp to cook, you're going to fry it a little bit longer on each side. So you just drop it into your oil like so. So right here, I'm only going to do 5 because you don't want the oil to cool down. You want the oil to keep frying. So these are gonna fry up. I'm gonna flip them over after they start turning really brown. And let's get popping. Let's see what happens here. So I showed you how to just drop it in the oil. And now I'm gonna show you how to make it into a nice cake. However, I need to wear gloves here. So you just take it in a nice round flat and you just drop it into your oil. Same concept, they just come out a little prettier in a nice little round. But I mean, if it's just for you and you're not bringing it to a fancy gala, you can just drop it in. No big deal. But for purposes of video, I'm going to make them round, nice and round and flat using gloves. Yay! I've flipped them over one time and they're nice and golden brown. I'm just gonna let the shrimp cook a little bit. Here it is cooking up in nice round balls. Frying on both sides, nicely golden brown. And then you just dry them on a paper towel. And you can add a sauce to this, or you can eat it just like this with a salad. But here are your crab cakes. I'm gonna finish up the rest and then I'm gonna plate it for you so that you can see what they look like. Thank you for tuning in to Cooking with Kay.